Hello everyone and welcome back. In this episode we are going to be speaking about how you, yes you, can contact the spiritual world. First of all, I'd like to say a big massive thank you to each and every one of you who like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel. It helps us to fight the algorithm and push that message of help heal serve out to a broader audience. Also, in the comment section below this video you will see pinned my Patreon, where I offer a wide range of spiritual services including one-on-one tutoring, etc, etc. How can you contact the spirit world? Now first of all, let's just get over the first hurdle. What are spirit? Spirits are energy beings. It is the soul. For a lot of you may not understand this, or you may not want to believe this, but we all have what is called a soul. Yes, animals also have a soul. The soul is the energy part of us, which is contained within the auric field, which encompasses the human form. Now, as long as we have a beating heartbeat, that electrical pulse generated is always going to be there. It is always going to be emitting its low frequency energy. So, contained within that energy is the soul. Now, the soul is effectively, spirit don't like me saying this, but the soul is effectively imprisoned by the auric field. If we did not have a soul, we would cease to exist. We would not be living this life experience. What we are going through now in this present day, the materialistic world after which we live, is called a life journey. It is a life experience. So the second that the soul goes back off to energy, you are no more. You are no longer living this experience. Is there ways in which the soul can leave the body? Yes, there is what we call astral traveling. Astral traveling is not just my interpretation. This is widely universal. You can look up on any social media, you can look up on the World Wide Web, and you can see detailed reported accounts of people who astral travel. You know, Elon Musk astral travels. And like I say, I don't want to be speaking about different people in their worlds, but lots of tangible, credible people astral travel. This is where the soul will leave the body in a staged exit, and it can whisk to wherever it needs, and then it returns back to the human vessel to then continue living this life experience. So that is what a spirit is. Now, the energy realm is all around us. This is where the spirit world live, essentially, okay? Because it's where they reside. Now, I'm trying to use words that are going to be kind of easy for you, the audience, to pick up on. I'm not going to use any spiritual words. However, what I am going to do is keep it nice and basic and simple. So the spirit world effectively live in the energy realm. A lot of you may call it heaven. A lot of you may call it hell. A lot of you may call it lots of different things, okay? It's irrelevant what you call it. Know this, the energy is all the same. Doesn't matter what faith you come from, what religion you practice. It is all the same energy. Okay, this is where a lot of people get confused. They think that it's different energies. Yes, whilst it gets a little bit more complicated when we start speaking about angelic beings. Angelic beings are from a completely different frequency, a completely different realm. And we also have different realms. So we have energy, angelic realms, and then we also have many different realms. Okay, there are 7 realms in total, spirit being part one of them. Now, we've spoken a little bit there about what spirit are. So first of all, by this point, if you are still here, thank you. Please, if you do like this content, remember to drop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, you know now what spirit are. Should we fear spirit? Definitely not. You have to protect from poor understandings and bad teachings. There are many of them on this earth space, and we as part of the spirit world and, help heal serve are here to eradicate these bad understandings. No more should people feel ashamed of the humanistic abilities. A lot of people can connect and do connect on a daily basis, yet they are in fear of speaking out of it. Why? First of all, they don't want to accept it. They have been conditioned throughout society, throughout their entire life journey, to not believe in spirits. It's wrong, isn't it? Let's be completely honest. There's going to be a lot of people watching this who think I'm clinically insane. Well, guess what? You may be right. However, my evidence speaks for itself. I can give you evidence of the afterlife. I can give you evidence of family members who are in spirit, who are trying to communicate with you. This is what each and every one of you can do. Each and every one of us can be mediums. Now, we shouldn't fear spirit, and I'll tell you the reason being is this is very, very simple. I'm going to give it to you like this. I know that there is going to be a vast majority of you watching this now who fear the spirit world because you have feared somebody within the materialistic world to which you are living. You have feared somebody. There has been an evil person. I don't need to name any. Each and every one of you can do the footwork there. You can all think now, in this present moment, of people who are evil. Now, why are they evil? They did not come to this planet evil. Conditions and environmental factors forged them and molded them into the person that they are now living this experience. Not one of you come to this planet evil. You have to remember, evil, hate, jealousy, greed, all of these are humanistic traits which are cultivated within the mind, within the body. They are not of energy. So when the human body dies, which unfortunately, sorry to bring down the tone, but each and every one of us are going to die at some point. When the energy part of us whisks back off the spirit, yes, it recalls some of the experiences you've been through. It's effectively the soul is like a notes taker. While you go through this experience, the soul is going to say, Jordan done this really good. Jordan done this really bad. It's also going to say Jordan could have dealt with this situation a little bit better. So when we come back, we are going to monitor it and see if he has overcome the hurdles. Yes, we come to this planet many of times. I have been here 7 times just on my for myself. Each and every one of you could have been here a lot more than that. Now, getting back on track. The reason why we shouldn't fear spirit is very, very simple. You have to protect from poor understandings and bad teachings, which I've already said. But remember those words. Protect from poor understandings and bad teachings. If you protect from those facets, then guess what? Your mediumship is going to go skyrocket, because we are changing the way that this happens. We are changing the way that people look at us as mediums. We are given evidence. A lot of the time when you have people, who work alongside a spirit, or they do this or they do that, they can't come through with what they say. And that's not to speak negative of these people, but their understandings lack. They do not have the knowledge base, so they can't give that evidence in those moments. Unfortunately, this is where the process becomes diluted, because then people look at that and assume that every medium is going to be the same. This is something that each and every one of you have to come to terms with. There are going to be people out there who are going to not just make you look bad, but there is going to be a lot more expectations on you to raise the bar to the next level. This is what we are doing here at Help Heal Serve. We are giving each and every one of you the divine tools that you need. We are giving you the understanding. We are giving you the interaction with your team so that you can go out and spread your truth, speak your truth. Now, remember, coming back to the evil spirits, when the humanistic body dies, okay, we've already covered it, we're all going to die, sorry to bring down the mood, but when the humanistic body dies, and we whisk back off the energy, do we take greed? Do we take jealousy? Do we take anger? Do we take hatred? I'm going to let you all in on a little secret here. We don't. So this is something that you have to remember, because there's a lot of you out there who are basing the spirit world on the experiences to which you have lived. Now, I can hear you all saying, oh, but Jordan, what about paranormal activity? What about The Conjuring? What about Annabelle? Yes, there are many different realms out there, and yes, it makes for absolute great entertainment. Remember, anything that incites fear within your mind is going to be good for generating interest. This is why these companies and, massive production companies make these productions. It is for entertainment purposes. Notice on my platform at no point do I ever use the word entertainment. What I do is not entertainment. Whilst some of you may be entertained, I do not do this to entertain anyone. I do this for the educational values, to help each and every one of you connect with your loved ones in spirit on a personal level. Now, coming back to these scary productions, I'm going to give you all a little bit of an insight here. So, I'm scared of spiders. Why is it that I am scared of spiders? It's because I don't know much about spiders. Just like each and every one of you are going to be scared of something within your world. Now, when you think long and hard of why you are scared of it, you are going to come up with the same answer as what I have just given, because you don't have an understanding of it. Now, this is where the fear manifests from the lack of understanding with the spirit world. We have this manifested fear where we don't know, we don't know enough about the spirit world to be able to make informed decisions. And then we have Hollywood, and we have all of these, not just Hollywood, but we have all of these productions companies going, oh, people are scared of spirit. It makes for great entertainment. How can we make more money? Well, let's make The Conjuring too. Now, there are many different realms. Now, I am open and transparent on this on this platform, and I work with all of the realms. Not just spirit. I work with all of the realms. I say it time and time again. Now, what you have to be very aware of, a lot of the time the realms can be a little bit more playful than what the spirit world are. What do I mean by that? The energy is more dense. It is a stronger energy altogether. This is where a lot of the fears have manifested through lack of understanding and people not understanding processes that are taking place around them. It manifests fear, which then producers get a hold of and they go, oh, this would make for great entertainment. Well, let's make a movie out of this. Am I saying that in this world there is nothing out there in terms of, realms which can be more playful? Definitely not. There are. But one thing that I'm going to let you all in on a little secret here. What you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. If I was to start working, let's just say, with some sort of cult next week, guess what? With my connection, I would be straight at the top of that. If I was to start working with things that were a little bit darker than spirit, then guess what? I would be straight into it. Each and every one of you are the same. Be very careful and be very educated in what you go looking for. For those of you who want to start working with the realms, I am a spokesperson for all of them. I can connect you with the realms. Will I do that? When the time is right for you. A lot of the times the realms will approach you when the time is right. However, I have been put in the position that I am in to educate people and to effectively shepherd people to the right realm, to help to educate and bring awareness to the energy and to the realms. Because for so long and for so many centuries, the spirit world and the energy realm have not had their voice heard. Because the people on planet Earth, unfortunately, sometimes their ego gets the better of them. And it takes a long time for them to find someone who is not going to let ego get in the way, not going to let ego stop their message. Now, the message is very, very simple. Life goes on. Each and every one of you, you will be worrying about how your parents are doing in spirit, how's your partner doing in spirit. Guess what? They are all fine. Absolutely loving it. Not loving it in the sense of, because whilst spirit don't miss you, what do I mean by that statement? Spirit don't need to miss you. They are with you at each and every breath you take on this planet. The spirit world are here and now. They're omnipresent, like the air that we breathe. So there's going to be a lot of you going, oh my God, spirit don't miss us. They don't need to miss you is the point I'm trying to make. They are always with you with every beat of your heart. They are walking along your divine spiritual path with you, essentially guiding you. Now, we have went through quite a few there. So, take a little bit of a deep breath, try and process some of that information. Now, when we are working with energy, how is it that the energy comes to us? Now, I'm going to give you all a little bit of an exercise here, which is probably just going to blow your mind. Now, what I would like you all to do now is to, if it is safe to do so, I would like you all just to listen to my voice. And what I am going to ask you to do is to simply close your eyes. You need to be able to hear me, but close your eyes. Then, what I would like you to do is to visualize a white ball in a black room. Now, this ball is bouncing at a slow pace. Bouncing at a slow pace. Then, all of a sudden, that ball changes colour. It is now bright yellow. The brightest yellow that your eyes have ever seen. Now, we are back. Now, what you have just done there, each and every one of you, I would love to know in the comments what you've seen, but each and every one of you are going to have a very different interpretation of the words to which I have just spoken. The spirit world use that form of our imagination. They cloak ideas within the imagination. Yes, they have to use the imagination. That is the tool that they have to their abilities. Now, each and every one of you would have pictured that scene very, very different to one another. Why is this, you might be asking? Because you are all unique. You all have different things about you that you can bring to the table, that you can work alongside of the spirit world with. So I would love to know in the comment section what you all seen for that one. But what happens is with spirit, where whilst they can whisper using clairaudience, which we're going to come to next, but spirit will take the energy, and rather than you, like you've just heard with your yas, me telling you what to imagine, the spirit world will just use energy. They don't need to use words to vocalize. Once your intent is working with spirit, that energy comes to you packaged. You then interpret it using your clair senses, and then straight away. So what you've just done there, each and every one of you, for the first time, if it was the first time, you have just interpreted energy. However, the energy you've just interpreted was my intent and my words. No different to working with spirit. Absolutely. And I don't care what anyone tells you, because there's a lot of people who mystify this and, try to make it seem a lot more difficult than what it actually is. And whilst, yes, I'm not saying this is easy, what I'm saying is it can be more simplified, which is what we at Help Heal Serve are bringing around to each and every one of you. Do you need to protect from the spirit world? Now, I hear a lot of the students on this platform who are already saying no. Now, I'll tell you the reason why they say no is because they have a good understanding. They have been educated well. Anyone who says the answer to that is you do need to protect, unfortunately for yourself, you have fallen into misunderstandings and poor practices. You do not need to protect from the spirit world. You have to protect from poor understandings and bad teachings. Now, I'm going to get you in on a little, because I know there's probably going to be a lot of you who are offended by me saying that, but guess what? I tell it how it is. Anyone new coming into this, I need you to understand this protection is a humanistic ritual that you have welcomed into your daily practices. You have welcomed it. Okay? It didn't need to happen. It can be as literally as simple as going, right, got the information, going to give the information. Down to the conditioning of your mind. If you have decided that before you work mediumship or you work psychically, you need to cleanse the room, you need to sage the room, you need to put the music on, all of these aren't wrong. What I am saying is they are completely unnecessary. We need to find a way for yourself to be able to use and utilize your energy as efficiently as you can so that you can help and heal as many people as that you want. So on protection, you don't need to protect. Anyone who tells you to protect, unfortunately for themselves, they have been taught that. They have been taught that. And they have, a lot of the time what you have with this line of work is it's very cloak and dagger. Okay? It's few and far between people that you come along in this line of work who are there and they are genuine in themselves. A lot of people will say, I can do it because I'm gifted. So, you might have heard us choke up there. The word gift needs eradicated from this line of work. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. And anyone out there who uses the word gift and thinks you are gifted, I'm sorry to tell you, you are not gifted. You have the humanistic abilities that each and every person on this earth plane has. The word gift implies that you can do something that I can't, or I can do something that you can't. Now that is damaging to one's ability to grow spiritually and along your journey. Now what you've got to remember with that is that is hindering your progression. So we need to come away from this terminology of gift and, oh my God, I was appointed this gift from... I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. And if you believe that, then I've offended you. But I don't care. I really don't care about who I offend because I tell it how it is. People need to understand for their own conditioning of their mind. When you are saying you have a gift, this is your ego speaking. You believe that you have been anointed. You believe that you have been given these gifts bestowed upon you. And it is simply untrue. And again, whilst I do come across a bit of strong on this, and whilst, yes, I am very passionate about this, you have to understand the reason why I'm passionate about this. Because there are so many people who can connect on a mediumistic and on a psychic level who choose not to do so because they see that Dave along the street is gifted, or they see that Sue at the spiritualist church is gifted. The word gift is damaging, and it should be... I hate it. There's not many things I hate, but that is one of the things, because that speaks, when somebody tells me they are gifted, immediately I know that they have not addressed their ego. I know immediately from those words that this person has not sat down and addressed their ego, which is never a good thing. So now we are going to speak a little bit about what it's like connecting with the spirit world. So it's going to be very different for each and every one of you. We've spoken there about when we connect with the energy being spirit. When we get the energy, we then translate the energy using our clear senses. If you want to learn more about the clear senses, I've got a video on this platform already dedicated to it, so I'm not going to be fully going into them. But the most commonly known ones that each and every one of you will be using on a day-to-day basis will be clear empathy. This is where we are feeling energy. We are effectively, like of myself, I wear energy like it is a coat. So I can't go onto public transport, I can't go onto any sort of built-up areas. Fun fact, if you ever see me out in public, you will always see me on my own. Is it because I'm a lonely individual and I have no friends? No, quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I choose to be in my own company. The reason being is I am responsible for what happens within my auric field. It is the conditioning of the mind that I have. I don't want other people's energy impeding into my auric field. And I know it sounds crazy, and there's a lot of you probably not even fully believing it in the auric field. That's all right. The auric field is essentially what the ozone layer to planet Earth is. It does the exact same job. Whilst the ozone layer of planet Earth keeps harmful rays out, The auric field does the exact same for negativity. Now, I don't mean negativity in terms of negative spirits and all of that. Listen, there's no such thing as negative spirits. Yes, it sounds cool. Yes, it sounds crazy. When people are describing negative spirits, what they are describing to somebody who is educated is the realms. Very different to the spirit world. But a lot of people don't understand that disconnect. This is why we are educating people. And for a lot of you who are saying, oh, well, can you tell me more about the realms? No, because you are not ready. The fact that you are coming to me asking to know about the realms tells me that you are not ready to know, because your teams would be telling you about the realms if it was the right part of your divine spiritual path. What you've got to remember is whilst, yes, I do tell people about the realms, and in some instances I will give them guidance, this is when the spirit world have told me to. I work, the spirit world are effectively like my employers, my full-time, everyday, 24/7 employers, to be honest with you. Even though I'm a security guard, Monday to Friday, the spirit world are my second employers. Well, first, really, because I mean, I don't really get any time off, but I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Being a psychic medium is one of the most rewarding, I've got two monumental moments in my life, and it is when my son was born and becoming a psychic medium. Being the person that I knew I could be and the person I always wanted to be. I love to help people. I love to help people and get them to where they need to be. That, for me, is job satisfaction. And I can do this working alongside the spirit world. Why? Because the spirit world are always side by side with me. I have them all around me now as I am speaking. They will come through and they will speak whenever they like. A lot of the time through this video, you would have seen spirit jumping in and out, telling us the direction to go, telling us what people will need to know. And there's going to be a lot of you going, oh my God, he's possessed. I'm not possessed, okay? The fact that you feel I am possessed because of your lack of understanding. The problem is on your side. It's not on my side. There is no... what a lot of people have got to remember this is you don't get possessed by spirit. You don't get possessed by the realms. It's an allowance-based system. If you go... I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. If tomorrow I wake up and I'm in a bad mood and I decide to leave my house in a bad mood, then guess what? I'm going to have a pretty bad day. I have created that reality through my understanding. Now, if I get up tomorrow and I'm in a positive mood and positivity is just oozing from my body, then guess what? When I step out of that door, I have manifested myself a very good day because of the mindset, because of the person and the mood that I am in those moments. This is the same when you go looking for anything within the spirit world, the energy realms. If you want to go and look for the most sinister, you want to go and look for whatever you want out there, then guess what? You are going to find it, my friends. I've been open and transparent about that. A lot of the times what you've got to remember is this is a lot more complicated in terms of the dynamics of how it works than what people believe. And there's a lot of the times I have to kind of simplify things so that you understand. Not because you are silly, it is because it is far beyond your human comprehension for me to be able to put it in a way that you would just instantly understand. That's why a lot of the time I use analogies. That's why a lot of the time I'll use things that I think you may be able to associate things to. Now, when you are connecting with spirit, what is going to be the simplest way to connect with spirit? Now, this, for myself, is going to be meditation. I also have plenty of meditations on this platform for you to go and trial. Now, what is a meditation? Because there's a lot of you out there saying you're too busy, you can't do this. If you want to do it, you can do it. This all comes down to your commitment. If you are committed and you want to work alongside of the spirit world, from the first part of this video, you are now have an understanding. You don't need to fear from the understanding you've just been given. This is the next part of your hurdle. This is where your intent, your commitment, your desire and wants to strive for your end goal, being you want to become a medium. When you go into a meditation, does it matter where you do a meditation? For myself, whilst this is very controversial, which let's be honest, I'm very controversial anyway. For myself, I prefer and I educate people to go into a dark room and to use headphones. Why? The dark room is going to eliminate any sort of light anomalies. The sound headphones is going to eliminate any noises or disturbances from the external, which are going to take you away from your meditation. When you first go into meditations, it's very difficult to get into the practice because you've got to put the headphones on and you start feeling silly because, let's be honest, you're not used to spending time with yourself. So you're putting the headphones on, especially if you're a male, okay, because, there's going to be a lot of female out there who, for a meditation, it's going to come naturally, because it's the normal meta. But for males, I mean, when I said to someone I was doing meditations, they looked at it as like I was crazy. I mean, it still look at it as like I'm crazy, but you can see where I'm coming for this. There's a lot more stigma attached to meditations with men. Now, you're going to feel a little bit strange, a little bit weird. But what you've got to remember is any meditation, you should go into a meditation. It doesn't matter what music you play. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, you know. All of that is just part of being in the meditation. What the meditation is there for, it is to effectively bring your mind out of its fast speed, high octane gear, racing through the processes of life and bringing it back so we can then take some quality time with ourselves. When we go into a meditation, it is important to set our intent. What we want or hope to achieve. Remember, that is where we stop with the expectations. You should never go into a meditation with expectations. And for those of you who've been into a meditation and been blown away, remember this. Sometimes it can take a few times for you to naturally get into a meditation state. If you want to learn about meditations, I also have lots of meditation videos on my platform. So I'm not going to be explaining how to do a meditation. There are plenty of videos and tutorials on my platform. But just remember, it might not work first time for you. You might have to keep trying. It might work first time. What I will say is when it does work first time, do not expect it to work like that a second time. You should never have any expectations, or this is going to set you up to fail, because you are going to be expecting what happened in the first time. And by you trying to force the process of the meditation, it's simply not going to work in the way that you thought it would work. So this is damaging. Now, we've spoken there quite a bit in terms of what spirit are, how you can connect, the senses you use to be able to connect. And we've also now given you a gateway option to contact the spirit world. There's one other thing I'm going to be mentioning actually, and this is the ability of clairaudience. Clairaudience is the ability of hearing spirit and clairvoyance. So clairaudience, there's going to be a lot of you who hear spirit. You might hear whispers, you might hear murmurs, something that's not tangible. You don't know what they're trying to say to you, right? This is not your mind. This is spirit communicating with you through the ability of clairaudience. This is good. This means that spirit are communicating. If you do not hear spirit communicating with you, don't worry about it, because this is something, it's a humanistic ability that you have to refine with time. Just some people have it from the very beginning. Some people have to cultivate it a bit harder. Just like there's a lot of people out there who can sing. Does that mean each and every one of us can sing? Well, we can all try to sing, but it doesn't mean to say we're going to be any good. I mean, if I was to stand here and, come on my podium and try and do a little bit of singing, I think you would all just subscribe from the channel instantly. I would probably be terminated and cut off and struck off from YouTube because I'm tone deaf. But if I wanted to practice to sing, could I? The answer is yes. Whilst I might not be any good, I can still practice, I can still get better than what I am now. So for those of you who haven't used the ability of clairaudience and you don't hear spirit, then remember this is something that you can practice. How do we do this? So very, very simple. For any of you who are actually already hearing spirit now, what I would recommend you to do is, because you already have the connection and you are already working with them, you all have the connection, by the way. If spirit wanted us to rephrase that, you all have the connection, but by using the ability of clairaudience, you are already tapped into it a little bit easier and more freely for the spirit world to use. What you need to start doing is when you hear spirit, acknowledge. Yes, okay. This then spirit will start telling you more because you are paying attention. Just like if you see angelic numbers or if you see anything along them lines, when you see angel numbers and you start acknowledging the angel numbers, the spirit will work with you. They're like, oh, what else can we show them? Well, because it's a game. It's one big game. It's one big game to help you to get where you need to be. For those of you who use the ability of clairvoyance, clairvoyance is where you see spirit. I have seen spirit from the age of 6. Seeing spirit to me is no different to you and I talking. If you were stood in front of me now, okay, I see spirit as a human being in human form. Then they just disappear. So it's one of those things for myself. I've become numb to it because I've forgot how many spirits I've seen. To be honest, it's like I say, it's a daily occurrence to me. It's not something that I keep tabs on. I don't need to keep a record of it. But for you, if you haven't seen spirit, does that mean to say that you can't see spirit? No, the first part of this is just answered that. Again, you can practice to see spirit. You can say to spirit you want to see them. If you are seeing spirit already and you are getting freaked out by it, remember what I've said at the first part of this video. This is all allowance. Spirit are trying to come to you because there is always intelligence behind why they are coming. Whether that be because they want you to work alongside of them, whether that be because you are going through a difficult patch and they are trying to come to you to help. Another thing spirit want is to bring you all to your attention actually. which actually comes in, I know why they've told us to say it last, is your dreams. Each and every one of you, when you sleep, contact and visit your loved ones in spirit. Each and every one of you. There is not a person amongst you who has not seen spirit. Whether that be you have went through different zones and you've seen loads of different faces and you've come out of the dream and you've been like, oh, that dream was so bizarre. It seemed so real. Why do you think that might have been? I'm going to let you all in on a little secret here. When we go into our dreamlike state, it is easier for the spirit world to come to us. A lot easier for spirit to come to us. Now, when I first come on to working in front of a camera, for example, I don't like the way I look. I never have, never will. And it's nothing about me. It's just me as a person. However, the spirit world said to me, okay, you're going in front of a camera and you're going to have classes. In my dreams, on the night times, I would be going in front of people, standing in front of people, speaking in front of people. I would have courses. Look at me now. I do tutoring, I do lecturing, I do all of these. And we're trying this sort of standing up format because I'm getting used to being on a podium and speaking. And it's one of those things where I thought, even though I didn't want to, I put my trust in the spirit world and look what they have helped me to achieve. That was all through my dreams. That was all through them coming. When I was doing tarot reading and helping people to learn tarot, I would be in classrooms lecturing people on how the tarot cards should work. I remember when, I come up with the terminology, never protect from spirit, protect from poor understandings and bad teachings. Well, that was me and my team, actually. But I would have to reincite that in my dreams over and over and over again, to the point where spirit knew I fully believed wholeheartedly that this was the statement. And this was true and accurate. Now, the spirit will come to each and every one of you. Your dreams, you can't base your dreams on my dreams. Dreams are going to be very, very different. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, well, dreams are just a collection of your subconscious mind when it doesn't know what it's doing. I beg to differ. When you have intelligence and when you have connections, for those sort of people who have that sort of attitude, I do appreciate it, the scientific background you've got to have. I'm one of the most analytical people you will ever find. I was probably one of the worst students that the spirit world have ever had. They've just said I wasn't, but I pretty much think, because at each and every point I had to be shown tarot cards I laughed at. Yet, then I picked them up and I was blown away. Pendulums. Haha, little giggle to myself. Haha, what on earth? What's a pendulum? How does this work? Guess what? Amazingly. Crystal balls. Do I need to go on? And this is one of the things that you have to understand. That was, for myself, that was just me as a person, very analytical. Now, for me to come onto a public platform where people all around the world see me, and to be open and transparent and to tell each and every one of you that you go to see spirit in your dreams, that shows the conviction I have. That shows how much I know about the spirit world. Yes, there's going to be a lot of people who say, oh man, you're just crazy, actually, Jordan. Hey, listen, I've been called worse things, to be honest with you. And again, I let my work speak for itself. I let my connection with my spirit teams speak for itself on every video. Now, that was a little bit of a gateway into becoming a medium. That is giving you the groundwork to start building. I can't just impregnate your minds with all of my notions and ideologies. It doesn't work like that. But what I can do and what my team can do is help you to reconnect with your teams, give you the base and understanding so that you can then go and fulfill whatever it is that you have in your world. Because let me tell each and every one of you something here. Each and every one of you have the abilities and capabilities to become a medium and to become a psychic. It is yourself who is holding yourself back. The spirit world will be there with you each and every second and every moment of every day. And they will help you and guide you along this divine spiritual path. But you have to manifest this. You have to believe in yourself enough to go out and want to strive for that end goal. A lot of people give up because it gets complicated. Let's be honest, I've at no point come on here and said it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's not. It's time, commitment. But if you fulfill your side and you fulfill there's going to be a lot of times, there's going to be a lot of you going into a meditation going, well, I want to be a medium, but why am I not seeing dead people yet? Well, guess what? It takes a little bit longer than that. And you have to be realistic about it. You have to have reasonable expectations when you are coming along this, because I've had people who've come onto my courses and, you know, they've said, Jordan, how long is the course going to be? And the first thing that I do on any one of my mediumship courses, any one of my psychic development courses, is I help you to connect with yourself. Now, this isn't something that a lot of people are blown away by the fact that, Jordan, why we're working on me? I want to learn how to work spirit. You are no good to spirit if you do not understand what it is that you want. If you do not understand the person that you are, how can you help anyone if you can't help yourself? Understand this should be the building blocks or the foundations of you connecting with the spirit world. People get this so wrong. People believe that it is all about just connecting mediumistically, connecting with psychically. Yes, that is the process, but there are a lot more facets to it that take place all around us, which, you know, we have to get right for it to work. Now, I hope you all enjoyed that. It was a little bit of a long video. We are trialing the standing up videos, so do let us know in the comments if you found it a little bit more interesting. For myself, I'm trying to get used to standing in front of the cameras on podiums, so this is why now I'm starting to stand up while I'm doing these sorts of videos. If you do